Welcome to TTM Cast, your sports collectibles podcast, sponsored by sportscollectorsdaily.com. If it happens in the hobby, you'll find it on sportscollectorsdaily.com. And sponsored by gemrate.com. The latest grading statistic from the 4 major grading companies is just a click away. Visit gemrate.com. It's free. And now, here's our host, Drew Pelto.
Well, hello, everybody. We're coming back to you here once again with TTM Cast, your sports collectibles podcast. Place where we talk TTM, cards, autographs, collecting, anything like that that comes to mind. We'll just throw it on in there. Typically, a lot of cards and autographs, or TTM and autographs, but yeah, whatever else comes up. We're in season 7, episode 18. Coming to you here on Labor Day, September the 1st. So I hope everybody's enjoying your day off, all you workers out there, as you listen to this nationally ranked Sports Collectibles podcast. I am Drew Pelto, hosting a show coming to you from here in the northern, central, eastern. It's a part of Texas, at least. It's the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I don't know what to call this area. And we're rejoined by Aaron Littleton in further north Texas. So good to have you back on the show here after sort of having last month off.
Yeah, I came off the bench. Last month I had a pinch hit appearance. But yeah, it's great to be back, and let's go. Let's have some fun.
Yeah. Just a warning to listeners out there, I may be hacking out a lung during the show. I've been battling something over the last few days here, so I don't have a cough button here, and I haven't gone as far as building one or anything, soldering one together. So yeah, you're just going to deal with me hacking every now and then. There we go. Anyways, sports news. It's September, which means that everything's going on pretty much right now. At least the two biggest sports. I mean, football, baseball. Baseball, you've got the pennant race going on right now. Aaron, your Rangers and my Guardians both kind of a ways back in both their divisions and the wild card both, so things not really looking great right now for either of our teams. But, I mean, we're not the Rockies, at least, so we got that going for us.
That is definitely true. My mom is still holding on faith that the Rangers are going to get a wild card berth, but I think that the fat lady started singing a long time ago. They've been a very flawed team most of this year. And so I will direct my attention towards 2026 for all Ranger hopes.
Yeah, I mean, same thing's going on with the Guardians, and I mean, it just killed me how inconsistent they were. I mean, they went on like a 10-game losing streak and then followed up by winning, 12 of 14 right after that. It's like, guys, you can't be doing this. I mean, that 12 out of 14 is really nice. That 10 in a row losing, that doesn't work. Real teams don't do that. I'm not even sure the Rockies even did that this year at any point. I mean, they probably did, but I don't know. Either way, not good. Things are not looking good. I guess I better start picking my bandwagon team here for the playoffs. I don't even know who that's going to be just yet. But, hey, it's football season. We got that kicking off here. We got a college start up here about, technically this was week 1, but there was also the week 0 games before that. Ohio State, the defending champs, and they defended their first one there, beating Texas 14-7 there. And, of course, over on the pro side, we've got the NFL kicking off later this week. Thursday night's first game, Saturday or Sunday, the first full slate of games to go on with it. And the Cowboys pull off the shocker there, the Micah Parsons trade just a few days ago. And the guys on the ticket, I know, were just completely having this it wasn't a true meltdown because, I mean, it wasn't really super pissed off or anything like that. It was just oh God, here we go again. Why is this happening? Kind of a thing, more like. But it's kind of entertaining to listen to, though, as someone who is not a Cowboys fan.
And I don't consider myself to be a Cowboys fan either, really. I like football, and I know that I'm in the vast minority here, but football is the sport that I watch to not have any feelings about it. I'm a diehard baseball fan. I'm a diehard hockey fan. Even I'm a big Mavs fan too, but football, I just watch. I enjoy the game, but I don't really have any crazy rooting interests. But yeah, I know that I think a lot of people in Dallas were in, the North Texas viewing area, were having deja vu to the Luka Doncic trade. it's been a rough year for the city of Dallas.
The crazy thing is, I feel like there's less of a meltdown over the Parsons trade, and I mean, the Cowboys are team 1A, no matter what, always at the top of the list here in this area. But yet, after that trade, I felt there was a heck of a lot more vitriol in general about the Luka trade when that happened than there was about the Micah Parsons trade. This is kind of more like well, this was inevitable kind of a thing, whereas the Luka trade was just absolutely explosive among fans there. So, yeah, interesting to see the difference.
Yeah, well, I think that the Cowboy fans have basically figured out that they're not going to fire Jerry Jones, and no amount of screaming "fire Jerry" is going to get that done, But maybe they thought that they had a chance to get Nico fired. We'll see what happens.
Right. Well, the NBA and the NHL, they also exist. They're things. They're kind of the dead spot right now. What can I say? I mean, we're talking about, baseball's ramping up for playoffs, football, the season's starting. Basketball and hockey exist. I guess we'll get to them more next month when the camps start, I guess. I don't know. I'm kind of lost. I'm at a loss right here on what to even say about them. But, yeah, they exist. That's what I got going for it right now. Lastly, want to send out a big happy birthday wish. We're about 3 weeks early on it, but Bobby Shantz has been a great friend of the TTM community. One of baseball's kind of under-heralded players. I mean, it's kind of weird to say that a former MVP is unheralded, that, a guy that was around forever just doesn't get enough recognition, but this is a guy who's going to pitch forever for every team, won an MVP award, like I said. He's going to be turning 100 later this month. He's been a great friend of the TTM community, of course. If you're listening to this podcast and you have not mailed to him, I'd have to ask why you haven't done that yet, and make sure you do that, and even if you have sent to him, send him a birthday card or something. 100 years old, that's coming up here soon for him, and yeah, it's really great to see that, and the fact that he is still signing even at almost 100 years old is just really cool to see.
Absolutely. I mean, definitely. I sent to him very early on in my TTMing days, and yeah, I mean, he obviously signed for me. He signs for everybody, but yeah, What a life to have lived. Make it to 100, hopefully, and also, win yourself an MVP award and sign a bajillion autographs. I mean, what a life.
Absolutely. Well, taking a look at what I've done here in the last month, not a whole lot of purchases or anything like that, because all my money went toward going up to Ohio here for a week, which I'll mention here in a bit. I did get out to see Gary play at Cleburne, and for the second Cleburne game in a row, Pete Incaviglia got ejected, so I was not able to get my cards signed by him after the game. So once again, Carl, my apologies. I'm still working on trying to get those Keebler cards for you there. They're in my book. I'm probably not going to see them for the rest of the season, but hopefully Inky's going to do some off-season stuff. We'll see him around there. I can get those done then, maybe early April, May, something like that at the very least. But, yeah, I did at least get a couple of guys that I need. I got the rest of my Cleburne players I had anything for, I think. I think I've only got Mike Shawaryn was the only one I missed at any point in the season. I'm still sitting on 6 cards of him, but knocked out the rest of my Aaron Alter cards, got the rest of my Shed Long stuff done, so pretty happy to knock those out. Got a Cody Reed for for Gary as well. A couple other guys for Gary that I had cards of. So it wasn't all total loss, at least there. Went up to Ohio, saw New Hampshire play at Akron. I didn't have any New Hampshire stuff because, I sent them all to Aaron when he went on his trip there and forgot to get them back beforehand. So, I mean, I didn't really miss a whole lot with New Hampshire. I didn't have a whole lot for them anyway. And from what I saw, they weren't signing a ton pregame out there anyway. But even Akron, they weren't signing much pregame or postgame. I think I got 8 cards total signed across that entire game. So not the greatest outing, but the food was good, which I'll talk about a little bit later on. I got to meet up with a friend, Ruben Belisario, out there. Aaron, you and I met him actually on the 2022 trip out there. You may remember him there. We got to see him again, hang out with him, graph with him. A couple days later, went up to Lake County, my old stomping grounds there. Saw Fort Wayne at the Lake County Captains, and did all right there. 17 cards signed across everything there, including Tugboat Wilkinson for the Guardians. That's one of their top 25 prospects, number 1 name in all of baseball at the very least in there. And also, what else? Lamar King and Clark Candiotti both signed for me. So Clark, Tom's son. So got the father-son duo across this season. I met Tom out at spring training, got Clark here at in A-ball this year. So happy to get those. And a big thanks to one of our listeners, Josh Kaplow. He's emailed us a couple times. We've had a couple questions on air from him. And we're waiting to get in line. He comes over and says, "Hey, Drew, love the podcast, man." I'm like, "Dude, hey, how you doing?" He let us get in early with him and everything. And so, yeah, that was really cool to meet up with him and graph with his son and his nephew there in Lake County. So always good to see them. Major shout out to them here, of course, on the show as well. Thanks for listening. And that about does it for everything that I've done this month. Yeah, went to Ohio for a week. That was the highlight of it. So, Aaron, your travels have taken you a little bit further than just one state. So, what's your last month or two been looking like here?
Yeah, so I mean, I completed the Eternal Graphing Tour 2025 edition. There were no major incidents, so
That's good.
I'm happy to say that I did hit a couple of milestones. I'm now up to 94 ballparks, so that's super cool. I rushed past 90, and yeah, which reminds me, ballpark number 90 was in Bowie, Maryland, Prince George's Stadium there, home of now the Chesapeake Bay Sox. But yeah, you were talking about New Hampshire, yes. And so when I went to Bowie, they were playing New Hampshire. I got effectively 0 autographs from the New Hampshire Fisher Cats, and after the game, they were not great. So yeah, you really didn't miss much. I'm sorry I had your cards, but
I wouldn't have got them done here anyway. So
yeah, right. I did try. I was completely unsuccessful. And so yeah, 94 ballparks. So that means that I'm sure at some point you'll be plugging the 2026 national trip, which will be the 3rd national trip that we've taken. I'm sure at some point you'll be plugging that and letting everybody know that that's happening. But on that trip,
is this week too early to, or this month too early to mention it?
I don't think so.
All right, we might have to squeeze that in here at some point here then. So because the planning is underway. So.
Yes, it is in development, work in progress. So I should hit 100 somewhere on that trip. Yeah, and so that'll be my 100th ballpark. That's kind of a huge milestone. Ballparks aren't that easy to get to, some of them. But yeah, and I also managed to accrue I call it my career. It's kind of a weird thing to say, but my graphing life. I have now achieved 20,000 signed cards, which I feel like is a huge milestone. I've been doing this like 25 years or so. And so my goal is to get to 1,000 cards. I'm about to hit 1,000 cards of the year for the year. So as far as graphing goes, other than, going out on the road and doing all of that, I also did the last couple weekends, I did Cleburne at the Kansas City Monarchs last weekend, and so that was kind of cool. We got they give out some of the Rangers extra promotional items, and so I got to get a Elvis Andrus bobblehead that they had given out. That was kind of cool. Got to get and you were talking about Aaron Altair. I got him. Cade Mickles. I got a bunch of guys there. So that was a good outing. And then a couple days ago, unfortunately, you were sick and didn't get to partake with us. But me and our friend Andrew, we did the San Antonio missions at the Frisco Rough Riders, and so that was good. San Antonio was fantastic. I wish I had more cards for them to sign, but yeah, I only ended up with like 4 dudes who didn't make the trip because they were injured. Everything else, there were 2 cards on my entire San Antonio book for guys that were there that did not get signed. So anytime you can do that's a great day. But yeah, and then so next month, or I guess this month here coming up, not this weekend, but the next weekend, I'll be doing Northwest Arkansas. I expect you'll probably be doing that as well. And yeah, that'll be my last official graph of the year. If I can get 42 cards, that will take me to 1,000 cards for the year.
If I can get to 44 next week, that'll put me in a new personal record for in-person autographs in a year. So I may have to see if I can figure out some way to finagle that here, because I know I don't have a whole ton on Northwest Arkansas, but I'll see if I can make some customs or something. Maybe, I don't know. So.
Yeah, you gotta get the milestones done, man.
Exactly. Well, we mentioned that 2026 trip. We'll talk a little bit about that later on in the show. I've got a spot penciled in for that. We'll get to that later. But right now, we've got a whole lot of other stuff in between. This week's show, it's Clemente's World. We've got Clemente Lisi joining us here for his every few months, about, approximately quarterly segment on there. And we'll talk some soccer, some hockey, and stuff about some of the big shows that have taken place over this summer. He checked out a couple of those big ones. So make sure you stick around when we talk to Clemente Lisi in Clemente's World. But before we get to that, we have Baker's Dozen talking about signings and other hobby news that are all coming up. Hobby happenings with shows that are taking place around the country throughout the month of September. We'll talk Clemente right after that, then go into Making the Grade, covering all things from the world of grading here in the hobby. We'll give our TTM cast stamp of approval, where Aaron and I give our thumbs up to something, anything from the previous month. It could be literally anything. Sometimes sports related, sometimes collectibles related. Most of the times it is not. So stick around for that. We'll have the Vern Rap Minute covering deaths in the world of sports, celebrity, music, movies, politics. Anybody that it's a good TTMer or does a lot of shows, we'll try to let you know if they have passed away. And, of course, the main reason why we all are here, it is our TTM returns. If you'd like to get a hold of us, Aaron, what is the best email address for people to contact us at?
That email address is ttmcast@yahoo.com.
If you want to contact me directly, you can find me online at dfwgrapher.com. My email address is dfwgrapher@gmail.com, and I am dfwgrapher on most, if not all, social media. Aaron, where can the people find you at?
The Instagram is the hub for that. As always, you can check me out at Arron Sports Card Explosion. That's Aaron, Arron. That's how my parents decided to spell it. And you can check out my Michael Young collection and all of that there. If you want to follow the tour and also follow me and Drew on the 2026 national trip, then you can check out also on Instagram the Eternal Graphing Tour, and there are underscores in between each of those words. The Eternal Graphing Tour, and that's the hub for that.
So there you go. If you haven't given us a follow yet, make sure you do that and check out everything we're doing around in all of our collections there. I don't update my Instagram as often as I should, but I did do a big bulk drop of photos there from this month's TTM successes and in-person stuff, which, of course, we're going to talk about the TTMs later. But if you want to get a preview, go and take a look at Instagram right now. In the meantime, let's check out Baker's Dozen.
Baker's Dozen, sponsored by sportscollectorsdaily.com.
Smart collectors turn to Sports Collectors Daily to stay up to date. From new releases to incredible collections hitting the auction block, news from inside the business of sports collectibles, and much more, Sports Collectors Daily has it, all with no subscription cost. SC Daily also delivers a live look at the most watched sports card auctions on eBay for every sport. Sign up to get the headlines in your email for free, or just visit the website whenever you like. With 16,000 stories in the archive going back 16 years, there is always plenty to read at sportscollectorsdaily.com.
Baker's Dozen is a news summary of all things related to collectibles news here throughout the previous month, typically focusing on some upcoming set releases, product releases, and we've got a lot more than usual to talk about here this month, a few affordable ones coming out. But before that, I want to remind you to check out sportscollectorsdaily.com. They are a great site, great news source for all things sports collectibles news. I write a weekly article for them. Don't just check my stuff out, though. Check out the entire site. Mine deals with all things TTM, with autographs, gives recaps of what I've gotten in, and anything like that. I try to do one autograph-related kind of section of each article each month with if something good comes to mind. So if you've got anything you want me to write about, let me know about that as well. Shoot us an email. We've told you that email address before, but let us know and give it a read at sportscollectorsdaily.com. We also want to remind you to check out the TTM Cast store, ttmcast.com, up in the top banner. That helps keep our show afloat right now, as we don't have any sponsors right now, which, I mean, it's great because no extra commercials or anything like that, but it's bad because this stuff takes money to get from us here, from our mouths out to your ears. So buy some stuff on the TTM Cast store there to help fund that, keep the show going for another year. We got all sorts of stuff on there, T-shirts, hoodies, hats, other various accessories, stickers, magnets, pins, you name it, we got it on there. TTMcast.com. Check out that top banner there. And again, if you have any ideas of TTM Cast stuff that you'd like to see us sell, let us know. Shoot us an email. We'll get it added into the store. Well, we have a whole bunch of stuff here for upcoming card releases or set releases here over the month of September. I've been cutting back on that a lot. I've been trying to focus on stuff that's, stuff's going to appeal to the TTMer out there. Because let's be honest, we're not buying Flawless to mail out to anybody. I mean, that's not going to be happening. None of the super expensive stuff there. So typically products that are, going to cost $2 or less per card, maybe $3 if it's, kind of a well-known TTM-friendly product out there. So we got a lot of them to talk about here. First one, going to go to Upper Deck here this year for the Chicago Blackhawks collector. They have the Upper Deck Chicago Blackhawks Centennial box set coming out on September 4th, coming this week there. That is a 100-card set of Chicago Blackhawks greats, plus you'll get 5 parallel or insert cards in that box set as well. Pre-sale price, only $50.
We also have 2025 Upper Deck Allure SE Multisport that comes out on September the 10th. You will get 8 cards per pack, 8 packs per box, 1 auto in there, plus 30 other inserts per box, and the pre-sale price for that is $115.
Not too far from Halloween, and so Panini with some Halloween offerings, including 2024-25 Haunted Hoops Halloween Treat. Could be good if you want to, give something different than candy out for Halloween this year. Pick up a box of this to give out to the kids. 3 cards per pack with 40 packs per box. 1 parallel card in every pack. Pre-sale price on that, only $30.
And keeping with the Halloween motif that's going on, we have 2025 Score Football Halloween Treat, which also drops on September the 5th. You'll get 3 cards per pack, 40 packs per box, and there will be 1 rookie per pack. Pre-sale price for that is only $20.
This one, a little bit of a pet project for me, 2025 Panini Ohio State. They've done a multi-sport set there, mostly football, but also a whole bunch of other sports in there as well. Some basketball, baseball, softball. I think there's a couple hockey players in there, maybe some soccer, wrestling. I don't remember. It's a whole lot of stuff going on there, though. All Ohio State themed, coming on September 26th. 6 cards per pack with 6 packs per box there. You'll see 2 autographs and 4 inserts in each of those boxes. Pre-sale price, $100.
And lastly, we have 2025-2026 Topps English Premier League, which drops on my birthday, actually, on September 17th. You will get 25 cards per pack, and you will get 8 packs per box. There are 3 autographs or relic cards, and 6 other parallels or inserts in each box. And the pre-sale price for that is $230.
You can go celebrate by buying a box of that there and becoming a soccer collector?
I'm going to say no.
I figured I put the option out there, So
yeah, no, I'll probably just go to work. That's probably what I'll do.
All right. Well, if you want to look into getting some stuff signed that you might not have access to these guys, well, check out some private signings. We have a lot of them to talk about that are coming up in October. All of these we're only going to focus on players that are signing at a starting price of under $50. So, keeps it affordable for most collectors out there. You might not see some of the bigger names in there because of that, but there might be somebody out there that you need for a set, for a project, or whatever you work on, somebody that you just want to get in general. So let's take a look and see what we got. Cardboard Promotions at cardboardpromotions.com. We'll be mentioning them a lot here upcoming here in our next segment as well, but they've got some mail-ins going on in October that you might want to get in on. October 4th, Ernie DiGregorio, if you're a collector of NBA Rookie of the Year winners, he's one that you'll need to get there. $9 is his starting price. October 13th, they're going to have Basketball Hall of Famer Satch Sanders starting at $20. And October 19th, they're doing a signing with baseball player Richie Hebner, only a $10 starting cost on him.
And DEB Sports is going to have Tom Egan on October the 5th, and he will be signing for $5. And they will also have Kip Gross on October the 12th. He will be signing for $8. So some very affordable options there. For more information about that, you can check them out on Facebook at DEB Sports Autographs.
Autographs Inc. down here in Texas. That is found at theautographsink.com. I've got 3 upcoming signings in the span of 2 days. October 10th, they have Terry Teagle, formerly of the Golden State Warriors and maybe the Lakers, Clippers, somebody like that. I don't know my 90s average NBA players quite as well as I wish that I did, but he's going to be signing there, $7. October 11th, we have Billy Joe Dupree for $10 and Baylor great Greg Hawthorne for $7.
So that is we have a first, not only for TMcast, but that is the also for life. That is the first time I've ever heard you admit that you didn't know something.
It's 80s and 90s basketball is not my strong point. I mean, the sad thing is though, that's probably my strongest point of basketball history is in that era, but yeah, compared to like baseball, football, and hockey, no, I will I will take the L on most basketball stuff most of the time.
Okay, fair enough. So we also have Perry Sports Legends, and they will have a lot of people. On October the 2nd, they will have Kurt Suzuki, former National and also Oakland A, for $20. On October the 3rd, the very next day, they'll have Milt Collier, or Cool, am I saying that right? Kyler, thank you. Yep. Appreciate it. Milt Kyler. Yep. And also Mike Zanino, I got that one, for $12 a piece. On the next day after that, they will have on October the 4th, they will have former A's and Red Sox shortstop Jed Lowry for $15. October the 5th, they will have Doug Fister for $15. And October the 6th, so we're doing just like days of signings, apparently.
Yep.
So October the 6th, they will have Michael Bourne for $15. October the 7th, they will have Tony Kemp, Bill Hall, Corey Koski. Man, my childhood, like the nostalgia of these names. So Tony Kemp, Bill Hall, and Corey Koski for $12 a piece. And then also on October 7th, they will have Skip Schumacher, who was another one from my childhood, obviously, for $15 a piece. So, yeah, that was kind of a clunky read. But for more information about that, you check out PerrySportsLegends.com.
Isn't Skip Schumacher working in the Rangers front office right now?
Yes, I believe that is true. He was managing for was it for the Cardinals? I can't remember. I know he was a Cardinal. Okay. But, yeah, lots of 2000s to 2010s baseball players going on at Perry Sports Legends. So check that out for sure.
Get your 91 Donruss Milt Kyler rated rookie cards done there. I mean, that's I'm actually considering that one. I'm like, that might be worth it. So, yeah. East Coast Collectors Service has a whole bunch coming up here as well. Unlike that previous one, though, these are all going to be, I believe, on one day. October 11th, they're going to have John Wetland for $40, Chris Chambliss for $30, Brian Boehringer for $25, Chico Resch, $25 for all you Islanders and Devils collectors out there, and I believe the Colorado Rockies as well. The hockey Rockies, not the baseball Rockies. I've also got Bruce Harper, that is Bruce, not Bryce, $15 for him. Lance Mell, M-E-H-L on the name there, $15 for him. And Homer Bush, $15 as well. Once again, that's all October 11th. East Coast CollectorsService.com is the place to check out for all of their signings.
And Hawkman Sports is going to have a few guests as well. On October 18th, they will have Dwight Evans, who will be signing for $45. And on October 24th, we're doing Family Day because they are going to have Delmon Young and Dimitri Young for $25 a piece. And on October the 26th, they'll have Kendrick Perkins for $29. And for more information about that, you can check out HawkmanSports.com.
I actually need to get on that Evans, but that 45, like, oh, geez, I don't know if I want to pull the trigger there or not, but it's a possibility. Jamie Bly of Bly Sports Marketing. He's been doing about one or two signings a month, and I just mailed off recently to his Lloyd Mosby signing that takes place at the end of September. He's got one coming on October 4th as well with another former Blue Jay. He's got Dwayne Ward coming in. $12 the price tag there on Dwayne Ward autographs. For more information, go on sportscollectors.net. His screen name there is Jamie Bly, B-L-Y-E.
All right, and Jeff Carterud will have Keith Falk on October the 11th. That signing starts at $15. Then on October 15th, he'll have Roberto Kelly starting at $10. And on the 25th, he will have Rich Garces and that starting in that signing starts at $15 as well. For more information about that, you can check out JB Autos on SCN.
Another SCN promoter here is Jeremy Posey. He posts under WVU Rocks on SCN. For you Pirates collectors out there, October 10th, he's going to have Neil Walker doing a signing. $15 the starting price on there. So very reasonable for a, mid-2000s, 2010s, something like that. Bucko there, if you need him.
All right. And then we also have Atomic Sports with 2 M's. Very bold choice. Okay, I dig it. Atomic Sports will have Tony Perez on October 11th, and that signing will start at $45. Then he will have Willie McGee on October the 12th for $29. And lastly, former Cub and UT great Keith Moreland on October the 13th for $40. For more information about that, you can check out Atomic Sports on Facebook.
Keith Moreland for $40. I'm not one to price bash at all, but I mean, looking at this, it's like, okay, you've got a Hall of Famer for $45. You have a former, I think regular season MVP and maybe even World Series MVP as well, and Willie McGee for $29. And Keith Moreland was a good player, but only a couple All-Star appearances or so, or nothing really, super distinguished besides that. Right in between those two, it's like, okay, okay. You do you, Keith, but there you go. Last one here, we've got a couple of former pitchers coming on October 1st, run by Steve G on sportscollectors.net. I don't know anything about him other than that is his SCN name there, Steve G. So Bill Pulsifer, though, and Neil Heaton are going to be among the signers that he's got coming in. $10 each for those guys. So if you need them, take a look there. Steve G is the guy to check in with for that. If you want to check out some more higher price signers, go and check out sportscollectors.net. Like I said, we try to limit it to the guys that are around, $50 or so whenever we can on here, $50 or less. So if you're willing to spend a little bit more, go check out sportscollectors.net. Check out the private signings tab because they've got a lot to talk about there. Right now, it's time to take a look at hobby happenings.
You heard that right. It's time for hobby happenings.
Hobby Happenings is where we take a look at shows that are coming up, and August we had kind of a little bit of a light listing there because, of course, coming off just after the National, but we've got September rolling into here, and this is going to be a very long list going from early September into the first week of October here. Stuff going on all over the country, a lot of big-name signers, and we'll start off right here in our backyard, Dallas Card Show, September 4th through the 7th. It's going to be over to the Marriott Dallas in Allen, Texas. Admission is $15, and please note, parking is also $10. So they're getting you before you even get in the door on some of this stuff there. But we're going to have 6 signers, including Jason Terry and Drew Pearson. If you want to find out more about that show, go and check out DallasCardShow.com.
And then the 29th annual Packer Alumni Weekend will take place on September the 6th. At Hilton Garden Inn in Green Bay. The admission there is free, and as you know, Drew, you can't beat free.
Yes.
And they will have 12 signers there, including Dave Robinson and Jerry Kramer. For more information about that, you can check out Facebook, and the page is Ball 4 Sports.
Up in Massachusetts, we've got the Emerald Square Show, September 6th through the 7th at the Emerald Square Mall in North Attleboro. Free admission out there as well. They're going to have 2 signers, Tony Collins and Bernie Carbo. Both are going to be there. $12 the signing fee on those guys. CardboardPromotions.com is running that one. Check out their website at CardboardPromotions.com.
Then there's also the Illinois Valley Show that's going on September the 6th. So September 6th, very popular day for card shows. That is going on at Peru Mall in Peru, Illinois. Admission also free. They will have Randy Martz there signing. And for more information about that, you can check out Ridge Cards on Facebook.
Staying in the Midwest, we've got the Midwest Collectors Fest also going on in Illinois. This will be the day after, at least September 7th for this one at Countryside Banquets in Countryside, Illinois. You're going to have 4 members of the mid-'80s Bears that are going to be there, including Sean Gale, Jeff Fisher, and Steve Fuller. I didn't have room to list the fourth one there, but you can find out who that is at MidwestSportsBuffet.com.
I like it. Air of mystery.
Yes. I can't give it all away up front. You gotta find out more yourselves there, people, if you want to find out the full lineup.
Yeah, you got to keep them coming back.
Yes.
So for also going on is one of our favorite shows that we have never been to, and that is the Methuen Card Show on September the 7th. That will be taking place at VFW Hall, number 8349 in Methuen, Massachusetts. The admission there is only $2, and they will have Steve Casper signing for $12 there. For more information about that, you can check out cardshows.net.
Got a big one in the northern part of the Midwest, the Minnesota Card Show, September 11th through the 14th. That will be at the St. Paul River Center. Admission for each day is $15. They're going to have both Gene Larkin, former Twins first baseman, and Luke Keeschel both signing out there. For all the info about that, go and check out cardshowmn.com.
St. Paul, that sounds like a good place to go in 2026.
Are you dropping spoilers here early on? What the hell?
I don't know. I just said what I said. We also
interesting. You'll all have to just stay tuned for more.
I mean, you had a mysterious read, and I wanted to have one too. So
right, fair enough.
So I felt left out, and so I had to get one in. We also have the Northeast Sports Card Expo going on September the 13th and the 14th. That is going on at Chelsea Piers Athletic Club in Stamford, Connecticut. Admission there is $15, and they will have 13 signers, including someone who is very popular around here still, Bobby Valentine, and Kara Walters. For more information about that, you can check out northeastcardexpo.com.
We got the Marlboro Show coming up as well, keeping it in the New England area there. That's September 13th. It'll be at the Solomon Pond Mall in Marlboro, Massachusetts, and has free admission there. They're going to have 3 signers at this one. Don Marcotte, former Boston Bruin. Bill Travers, former pitcher for a few teams, including at least the Brewers, maybe a couple others there. And Bill Rogers. I believe he's won multiple Boston marathons in his life. All of them are going to be signing there. Cardboardpromotions.com once again has all of that information.
There's also the Orlando Garden Show that is going on September 14th at Orlando Gardens in St. Louis. The admission there is $3, and they will have Mickey Rivers and Will McEnany signing. So you can check out more information about that on stlsportscollectors.com.
We're about to see a new minor league baseball team be born this offseason, and they're going to have a launch party for it. The Ontario Baseball Club launch party will be on September 18th. It's at the Ontario Town Square in Ontario, California. Free admission to this. So I'm going to have Mario Lopez emceeing this event there. So getting some big non-baseball names in there as well. But for the baseball collectors, Eric Gagne, Steve Sachs, and Bill Russell all are going to be out there, along with a bunch of others as well. If you want to check out more about this event, milb.com/Ontario should have all of the info.
And so obviously that's going to give me another park I've got to go to. Every year at the end of the minor league season, there's weird stuff going on, and I got to go adjust my map and figure out. But I believe the Ontario team is because Modesto this was their final year. And so I went to Modesto last year and got myself a button for my first game, and got Colt Emerson and a few other good prospects there. So, that'll be interesting. I'll have to make it to Ontario one of these days.
Yeah, you've got to add the Wilson Warbirds or whatever they are onto your list now, too, with them coming in.
This is true. It is all very exhausting trying to keep up with all of this. But we've also got the Philly show that's going on September 19th through the 21st at the Greater Philadelphia Expo Center in Oaks, Pennsylvania. The admission there is $15, and they will have 13 signers in baseball and football, plus members of the Sandlot and the Mighty Ducks cast. So, man, my 90s child is very excited about this. I wish I could go. But if you're interested in that, you can check out phillyshow.com for more information.
Moving on into the Midwest, we have the Capital City Card Convention. It'll be September 20th at the Iowa Events Center in Des Moines. Admission there is going to be $15 to get in, but they're going to have Johnny Manziel and James Triantos both signing out there. More info can be found at theiowashow.com.
And then we also have the Southeast Collector Showcase that's going on September the 20th through the 21st at Cabarrus Arena in Concord, North Carolina. And admission there is $12. They will have Muggsy Bogues, George Morrison, and others signing there. So you can check out sportswaxpromotions.com for more information about that show.
So the shortest player ever and the tallest player ever, all at the same show.
That's legit.
Yeah. Moving back up to the New England area here, we've got the Dedham show on September 21st. Holiday Inn, Dedham, Massachusetts, $3 admission cost on that show. They're going to have both Danny Amendola and Ray Boom Boom Mancini out there signing autographs. And if I haven't said enough, cardboardpromotions.com is the place to check out for all the info on the Dedham show.
I tell you what, Massachusetts is not that big. They have to have the most card shows per capita.
I think so.
Anywhere,
it is crazy.
Anywhere in the nation.
And, in 3.5 years at Emerson, I went to one card show the whole time that I was up there. Just one.
Man, you were such a slacker.
Yeah, big time.
Then we've also got the Music City show that's going on September the 26th through the 28th at Williamson County Expo Park in Franklin, Tennessee. Admission is $10 there, and they will have 42 signers, including Jeff Bagwell, Fred McGriff, and Ricky Williams. So some huge names going on there. And for more information about that, you can check out musiccityautographshow.com.
A little further up in New England, we've been mostly talking about Massachusetts and a little bit of Connecticut. We've got one up in Maine. It's the Mainly Card Show. That's Mainely. Haha, pun. September 28th is the date on that one at the Fraternal Lodge 55 in Alfred, Maine. Free admission there, and for the hockey collectors out there, especially the hockey fight fan collectors out there, Bruce Shoebottom, tough defenseman from the mid-'80s Bruins, will be out there signing autographs for $10 each. Check Facebook. Mainly Card Shows on Facebook will have all of the info about that one.
I feel like I'm having deja vu because there will be yet another Methuen show, card show that's going on October the 5th at VFW Hall number 8349 in Methuen, Massachusetts. Admission is also $2 for this one, and they will have Mike Milbury, hockey great, signing there for $20. For more information about that, you can check out cardshows.net.
And Milbury's just recently said he's going to quit signing TTM, so that's going to be the only way to get him from here on. So go ahead and jump on that if you're a hockey collector. It's going to be your only way to get him. And lastly, we have another Orlando Gardens show, October 5th for this one. It'll be at Orlando Gardens in St. Louis with a $3 admission cost. They're going to have Rick Cerrone and Raleigh Eastwick both signing out there. And as we said before, for their earlier September show, if you want info for the October show as well, go and check out stlsportscollectors.com. Don't forget that many of these shows will offer mail-ins for their signings. And if you want to see more about some upcoming shows and signings all over the country, go and visit cravetheauto.com. They have all the info about all sorts of card shows, about all sorts of other signings that are taking place. Check them out. Maybe there's something near you. Right now, let's move on into Clemente's world.
You know what that means. It's time for Clemente's world.
Well, Clemente Lisi joins us approximately quarterly to talk about all the kinds of things that we don't really get to cover quite as often because, well, he knows them better than we do. We get him out to talk soccer. We get him out to talk some hockey. And, a couple months ago, we previewed the National with Les Wolf, and now we get Clemente in to give a review of the National and of Fanatics Fest. And, we talk about how soccer season just never really seems to end here, especially this year. And we'll be seeing that same thing next year as well. But right now, let's venture on into Clemente's world. It's our September episode. We're here in Clemente's world. And, first off, Clemente, a lot here to talk about, but good to have you back on here as always.
Yeah, great to be back, and I hope everyone's having a great summer.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, it's been a very busy one in the collectibles world. 2 months ago, we were talking about a preview of the National, and now we get a little bit of a recap of the National. You were actually out at Fanatics Fest and the National both. So just give us a rundown. What kind of cool stuff did you see there? How were the crowds at both of these? I mean, what's been going on with those two? Because I had to miss both of them this year.
Yeah, it's interesting. I want to put them all together because for the first time, I think Fanatics Fest being in second edition and the National being in its 45th, the two shows are a lot more alike now than probably ever before, in the sense that both had record crowds, which tells me the hobby is in a good place. I think people probably know that. A lot of people think the hobby is in some kind of crisis, but clearly not from the foot traffic you're seeing at both these shows, one in New York, one in Chicago. Like I said, record crowds, all kinds of interest in autographs and in vintage and in modern, and just runs the gamut, right? The other thing too that I noticed is that the National is becoming a little bit more like Fanatics Fest in that the organizers themselves are not interested in this, it seems, but the individual corporate booths, like Tops or eBay or whatever, VFriends, whatever, they like to bring in celebrities now, just like
Yeah.
Fanatics Fest has celebrities running around. And so not just at the autograph pavilion, but it's just in general. So Tom Brady was at the Tops booth, and then he was at Card Vault, his own, and then he opened a store near Wrigley Field during the National. So he was
Wow.
there. You had you had the Giannis brothers all there. With Giannis was there at the eBay booth. You had Gronkowski at the eBay booth. So there's a lot more interaction, and a lot of younger people I think like to see these sports stars up close. Either opening packs or throwing T-shirts or shaking hands or doing something, right? And us older guys and gals like to just look at card displays and maybe get autographs and meet with old friends and do that kind of thing. So it's interesting how the hobby is evolving, but so are these massive shows. And depending on what segment of the audience you're in, that's what you're going and gravitating towards.
And it's always been something that, the booths have had at the National there. I remember like Tops has had some of the actors from the Sandlot have been there, or some I remember like Steve Mason, goalie for the Flyers at the time, was at the upper deck booth, but that's just a little bit different from getting, the Brady's and Gronkowskis of the world out there. So it's definitely a
Yeah.
big influence there.
Yeah, no, it's t totally a kind of a change of pace, I think. And also, the big thing with the corporate area, not to focus on them, but it was redemptions. That's the big thing with the corporates, Tops, Panini, whatever. And now it's that plus some kind of experience, some kind of hype. And then, of course, for the rest of us who love the show, the National in particular was pretty amazing. 5 days. It's going to be in Chicago 2 more years. I suspect it's going to be bigger next year and even bigger after that. And then they did announce it will be in Detroit after that. So a little bit of movement. But just the fact that it'll be in Chicago for a while, which is a pretty stable venue. You have restaurants, hotels nearby, different from Cleveland, of course. And you can tell a lot of people had been at the last National 2 years ago in Chicago and then skipped Cleveland. So Chicago is clearly a destination for people, easy to get to in the middle of the country, East Coast, West Coast. I come from New York. It's not a long flight. And the other big highlight, I guess, from the National, and something I'm not interested in, but something that really I felt was a big deal was, trade night was happening every night. And if not just for trade night, but it was like trading during the day in the hallways. I mean, some hotels nearby had to actually put up signs saying like, please do not trade sports cards here. The hotel I was staying in, which was the Westin, which was maybe like a 10-minute walk, there were people in the lobby until like 2 or 3 in the morning, which,
Wow.
take that as you will. I thought it was a little bit, after spending 10 hours at the National, I don't think I needed another 6 hours at the hotel. But that's the younger crowd that's doing that. And also they're doing it without buying any booths, and just shows you just this 24-hour nonstop kind of hobby craziness that's happening. And look, it's good for the rest of us because the hobby needs to be in a healthy place and we want attention, we want mainstream media coverage of it. At the same time, we have to adjust these growing pains of, hey, younger people interested in this stuff, and maybe us Gen Xers are interested in other stuff, and then there's baby boomers who are doing something totally different potentially. But the great thing about the hobby is for everyone, it brings everyone together. The National was really great. I think anyone that actually was there can tell you it was a fun time.
It's definitely interesting to see the explosion of trade nights there, because I remember going back to like the 2014 show in Cleveland, and several just random people had set up a trade night in their hotel throughout the week and everything. And it's like, all right, hey, that's kind of a cool thing, but there was no single established trade night. And then 2022 in Atlantic City, the last one that I went to, huge trade night there. And now it's kind of like, it seems like you're seeing those all combined together now with trade nights every night. I mean, the hotels, like you said, they're having to shut things down a little bit there. It's
Right.
just kind of interesting to see, because it seemed like trading was dead for a while, and now it's seeing another big explosion again.
Yeah, I should also point out that it's called trade night, and but a lot of people are just buying and selling there. They're not are not necessarily trading like you did when you were maybe in eighth grade in homeroom or something. Like that's what I think trade night is, and that's what trade night should be. But it's often a lot of people just trading with cash or just buying and selling. So that is it's called trade night, of course, but because it's off the convention floor, it's separate. Just was happening everywhere. It's so much so that in the actual main lobby of where the National was being held, you were not allowed to even sit there or stand there or put your cards on the ground. Like they want to keep that open. And look, just to give you a little bit of an example how crazy the National was, it was so busy that they were letting the VIPs in 15 minutes earlier, and even the general admission people were getting in maybe half hour earlier because the fire marshal had told them too many people are standing in the lobby and standing around the corner. You got to keep the crowds moving. So that's how many people were at the National. So much so that all the videos on social media got the authorities concerned that this could be a problem. There were no problems. But just to show you that the show had to start earlier and earlier every day just to get foot traffic moving. And it was, it's extraordinary. The Wednesday, the first night, the preview night, if you will, that felt like a Friday at the National, and it was Wednesday night. So yeah, it's an explosion. It's huge. The corporates feel it. They feel that this explosion. I spoke to people at Upper Deck because of my interest in hockey and everything else, and they said they'd never seen anything like this before in terms of foot traffic. Maybe the '91 show in Anaheim, everyone mentions that all the time as like the big show during the height of the junk wax. But yeah, we're really in a new place. And just when you think it's maybe reached the pinnacle, it's like no, one more floor, one more level. And Fanatics Fest is another proof of that. The people at Fanatics told me they're going to have it again next year in New York. Whether or not it's going to spread around the country remains to be seen. But the National will be in Chicago, and that's still the marquee show. And then you have all the other big regional shows like Chantilly in Dallas and the one at White Plains, and those are only getting bigger and bigger, obviously too.
Has there been any talk of moving the date of Fanatics Fest at all? Because it seems having both those right there back to back just seems like a bit much. And I mean, you've got this whole kind of dead spot in February or so that might fill in really well
Yeah.
with something like that.
So what happened was the first year they had to do it in August, which was weird right after the National. And this year they did it in early July, which was before the National, but they benefited from that because they can get in NFL players to sign, active players that you can't get in August, obviously. Their other goal was to get active soccer players, which then they hit a bump because of the Club World Cup, which also took place in the United States in July, which also kept me very busy, I should say. So there was a lot happening, but they want to be able to bring in baseball players, football players, active players. And then the Jacob Javits Center in New York, where it's being held, a lot of the shows that they have there, like Comic-Con or the boat show or the car show, those have been at the same time, at the same place for years, decades. So Fanatics has to kind of find its way in. I suspect it'll probably be sometime in the summer, maybe June, July. They like the idea of kids being off from school. I agree with you that dead of winter would be nicer. They're farther apart. I also don't think Fanatics Fest is the kind of show people will travel to. I mean, people that I spoke to were coming as far as Boston and Philadelphia, but nobody flew in from California, as far as I can tell. The National, people are coming in from all over the world. I mean, there were people from Ireland and people from England and Germany, and then there are people from all over the United States. So that's still a destination. So Fanatics has to kind of deal with that. Fanatics also loses a ton of money on this. They don't care. They have it. It's a big billboard for them. The National actually has to make money. It's a nonprofit. They're in a different place. The two are not competing with each other, but I just think that both of them are really ideas of how to do card shows in the 21st century, and they're both learning from each other clearly, and fans and collectors are sort of gravitating to both concepts, and that's good. Like I said, it's good for the hobby in general.
Last thing here before we move on to the next
Yep.
topic here. You briefly mentioned that Detroit is on the clock officially for 2028 for that show. What
Right.
has been the thoughts kind of generically from people that you've talked to about that? Are they big fans of this? Is this kind of a, yeah, okay, we'll see about this? What's kind of been the view at this point, if you've heard anything?
There's two schools of thought while I was there because it happened while I was there. Most of the dealers wanted Detroit because it's not far from Chicago, and for a lot of people, it's easy to drive or get to. Because we should point out for listeners is that it was competing with Atlanta,
Yeah.
Georgia, which would have been fun, but Atlanta in the end of July is probably not the best place to be. Super hot,
Right.
and on top of that, it's not close to people. Let's say if you're from the Chicago area and you do the national, you're like, I'm not flying or driving all the way to Atlanta, but I can drive to Detroit.
Yep.
So I think most of the dealers thought, okay, if you can't be in Chicago for 4 years in a row, what's the closest thing to Chicago in terms of venue quality, distance, city size, that kind of thing? Detroit. I welcome it because I love Chicago. I think it probably should be there all the time. But I can imagine going there two more times now and thinking, okay, it's the same thing every year or feels similar. Maybe the idea of changing it up a bit is nice, and I think the organizers want to do that. Atlanta maybe will be a venue in the future. You have Baltimore, you have maybe Dallas. I mean, there are places all around the country you could have this, and I think it's a marquee enough event that cities want it. I mean, Atlantic City a couple of years ago were so desperate to get it back, they were actually willing to pay for dealer tables or give them a huge discount just to have it come back. And they still lost because, as you remember from your last national, Atlantic City is not ideal. And it's not close, it's not even close to New York. And it's also not a very safe area. And I think a lot of people kind of was eye-opening for a lot of people to go there and realize this is not a fun place. Chicago, we should say it's Rosemont, which is right near the airport, is a much safer, much prettier, much nicer venue.
Moving on here into talking some soccer here. Briefly touched on that there with the Club World Cup having been in the U.S. here just recently, but it seems like just yesterday we were talking about, well, yeah, it's the end of soccer season here, and now here we are starting up again here with, of course, Premier League playing their first week this past weekend here. As we, for any listeners, we're recording this on the 19th of August, so a little bit earlier into the month there, but still, we're at the start of soccer season now, and of course, that means some new card sets coming out. But first off, just a little preview of the season. Anything you can think of to look out for? Players that you think could have a big season and really kind of promote themselves in the collecting world here?
Yeah, so we should point out the Club World Cup was sort of this expanded tournament that was held in the United States for a month. It was kind of like the club version of what the World Cup for countries is. It was won by Chelsea, of all teams. They beat PSG in the final, PSG being the European champions and probably the best team in the world at the moment, I would say, despite that final, which was a lot of fun. I was there at MetLife Stadium to watch it, along with 85,000 fans, including President Trump, who for some reason couldn't get out of the trophy celebration or wanted to hang out there. It was very odd and created sort of a weird situation. It was funny for some, weird for others, whatever. I'm just saying it was, for a day that Chelsea won the Club World Cup and Yannick Sinner won Wimbledon, which the first Italian to win Wimbledon. He stole the news cycle in sports wise, which was very bizarre. But having said that, maybe I'm giving too much weight to the Club World Cup. But I do think Chelsea could have a good season, despite the fact that they drew 0-0 on match day one. But Cole Palmer, amazing player. And I think you're going to see a lot of players like him who are going to really up their game because the World Cup is coming next summer. They want to make their national teams. So I say Cole Palmer and Chelsea could be, in contention for the Premier League title. Liverpool, defending champions, they're very strong. They have Mo Salah. They have a bunch of great players. They only get stronger, it seems. Man City is looking to rebound. They came off really kind of a so-so season last year. Yeah, top four finish, but really not great. So they're going to be in contention. It's going to be, a tight title race, and we hope. And then Arsenal, which are the perennial second place team in the Premier League the last 3 or 4 years, they're going to be in it. So I think these four teams are really going to contend for it. Then you have Man United is trying to do a revival. Tottenham is trying to get back in there. So it's going to be, the Premier League is always an exciting league. And, to dovetail that, I think of all the European leagues, it remains the most competitive, the most fun, the most star-studded. Even though I'm Italian, I'm a big fan of Serie A. I think the Premier League is the league to watch, obviously. You have the top five leagues with Germany, Spain, and France as well. And don't sleep on the French league. You have PSG, which are the European champions, and they're an amazing team. They're probably the best team in the world, I have to say, despite the fact they lost this Club World Cup final, which a lot of people thought was nothing more than maybe a sort of glorified exhibition tournament. But I think FIFA was trying to sort of build something new, which is interesting. And the crowds gravitated to it. Americans, people forget Americans love top level soccer. Americans will fill stadiums to watch Real Madrid play Barcelona in a preseason game. So when it's a game that actually matters for something, it's nice to see big crowds. Some issues arose, as you might remember, maybe from the summer, which was thunderstorms and the hot weather. And it was interesting to see FIFA kind of all surprised by all this, like they didn't do their homework before next summer's World Cup. Like they don't know it's hot in the United States in the summer. But having said that, it was a fun tournament, and it you said, oh, we're back, but soccer never went away this summer. I felt like it
Yeah.
was just always on, and then we had the women's Euros, and you had all these other tournaments going on, and these teams never took time off. I feel like if you were a fan watching at home, you were just watching the whole time. And so a lot of these players are going to come in tired too. So if you're watching the Premier League and the other leagues, you'll notice probably that too. But these are just amazing athletes, and you know it's going to be a long season because the World Cup will then start up in June. So
Mhm.
the money never stops, the games never stop. It goes on and on and on. But having said that, there's a connection to the hobby, of course, which is there's some exciting new hobby sets coming out in connection with these leagues.
Absolutely. And Topps Premier League is one of the big ones here that either is coming soon or just came out. I'm not sure which. I haven't gotten too deep into that yet, but that's always a big one to look out for because
Yes,
I think
yeah.
this is their first year getting the Premier League back now as well.
Yeah, exactly. So for those who collect soccer, you should know that Topps was the Premier League licensee holder from 94 to 2019. Since then, Panini had taken it over. Fanatics got it back last year. So this is the first release of the Premier League under the Topps umbrella, Topps Fanatics in 2026. It's out in England now. I think it's coming in the United States, soon. And it's the flagship set for the Premier League. Kudos to Topps for putting it out actually around the same time as the league actually starts, which is exciting. Sometimes these things don't always match up because of various reasons, but it's an interesting flagship set, nice design, clean. I think it's going to do really well in Europe. And I think it's funny. Panini Prism, which is always marquee. It's great. I love Panini Prism. But the Panini Premier League sets never really did well with collectors
Mhm.
for whatever reason. The rookies from that set never did well. They're always looking for the Topps Champions League version of that guy or whatever it is. Here we're seeing, I think, just the design is nice, and maybe just because it's Topps,
Mhm.
I think collectors will gravitate towards the long checklist, all the parallels. It's got lots of great stuff in it, and I would recommend, if you're not a big soccer fan, to get a few packs and open them because the design's really nice, and they do a nice job. Topps does a nice job when it comes to soccer. Those Panini, but it's nice to see this competition sort of escalate. The truth is the Americans will gravitate towards it. The Europeans, it's a little more difficult because they love stickers and then they love match attacks, which a lot of people in America don't know what that is, but it's pretty much a top sort of card game that had Premier League players on it. A lot of Premier League fans like match attacks. Um, but this probably will be a higher price point than match attacks, which often favors kids and cheaper, a lower sort of easier market entry level, as opposed to this is a flagship set, which will cost more. And I see the individual cards of some of these players like Cole Palmer already selling for lots of money because in some cases it's their first Topps card, quote
Right.
unquote. And so that people like that too.
Yeah. Panini not completely exiting the world of English soccer at all, though they did at least pick up some of the lower leagues. So it'll be kind of interesting to see how that does over here in the U.S. as they got, I believe, the EFL. So everybody below the Premier League basically will still be made by Panini. And I'm kind of interested to see because, I mean, you've got teams that'll be getting, promoted and relegated each year from those levels. So I think it could still be a kind of interesting thing among the hardcore soccer collectors here and hopefully kind of stays big in Europe there as well for them.
It's one of the best things I think to come out of this top Panini race is that for soccer anyways, that the EFL does deserve its own set. And in a lot of ways, a lot of great rookies will emerge from there. And whether that's going to be an XRC or consider a rookie card, we're not going to get into that debate. But
Right.
you're going to get a lot of stickers and cards of teams and players that normally you would never see, which is great. Not just for fans in the UK, but I think even across the Atlantic in the United States and in Canada.
Going back to something mentioned before there, when we were talking about the Club World Cup as we make a transition to talk some hockey here, what would it take to have a hockey version of that? It's the only other sport I can think of that, has a big presence in other countries because, I mean, baseball, yeah, of course, it's a little bit outside the US. You get Japan and the Caribbean and everything. And you get the World
Right.
Baseball Classic to go with it. Hockey, you've had the regular Hockey World Cup with all the countries. What would it take to get like a Club World Cup of hockey teams, like get the champions from each of the leagues around the world for something?
Yeah, I thought of that. You kind of read my mind during the Club World Cup. I thought, oh, how cool would it be to have a hockey version of this? And what I mean by that is not Canada, US, Norway, Sweden. I mean club teams. I mean teams from
Right.
cities. And it would be interesting because even and it, this reminds me of back in the late 80s, early 90s when the Berlin Wall collapsed. There were Russian club teams that actually came to the United States and
Yes.
played exhibitions. I went to a New Year's Day 1990 game. I remember New York Rangers versus the Soviet Wings. Okay. And so you got to see players that you never would have seen before. And this was all happening all over the United States and Canada. So it would be really cool. I don't know the NHL is interested or can sanction these games, but you definitely could do preseason games that way, either in Europe or in the US, or the International Ice Hockey Federation can say, hey, why don't we do, because FIFA does organize a soccer version, so you would need this sort of global body to say, hey, wouldn't this be a cool thing to do a 14 tournament, an 18 tournament in the summer? Because like club soccer teams play their regular season during the year, hockey teams play during the year too. So you could have a tournament in July, let's say, somewhere. And that would be great because it would extend the hockey calendar. And it would be cool because we get to see all these different players from around the world that you normally wouldn't see from maybe the Czech Republic or from Sweden or from Norway or wherever. It would be fun. Also, it would be interesting to see what the level is. We don't really, unless you're following the Russian Hockey League or whatever, we don't really know the levels in these countries, and we think the NHL is the pinnacle, and maybe it is on paper. We just don't know. And also,
Mhm.
we would discover new players because not every player is on their national team, not every player is in the juniors, not every player makes the Olympic team. So you would see it would be extraordinarily fun. It would be amazing, but I think maybe it just lives in my and Drew's fantasy. I don't know that it's something that anyone's talking about, but I did hear during the Club World Cup that the FIFA one anyway, that Mark Cuban was talking about doing some basketball version of this or thinking, well, what wouldn't it be cool to play like some tournament or something? Now, whether he meant club teams or national teams, I'm not sure, but there's always other leagues looking to do something after soccer because soccer is the most global sport.
Yeah. So we may have to wait a little bit before we get the Kalpa versus Florida Panthers matchup that I've been waiting for there.
Yes,
So,
but we are entering 2026. Milan, Cortina will be the Olympics. The
oh,
NHLers
there
will
you go.
be there. So that'll be a lot of fun. I'm sure we'll talk about that a lot in the coming months. So,
Yes. Well, we're about 2 months away from the start of hockey season, a little bit under 2 months here because preseason gets underway, early part of September here. So just a couple of weeks away from that. Camps are at least coming up around then. So, but yeah, it's right around the corner there. And of course, that means that it's time to start looking at what card sets are coming out. And I think we mentioned this last month when Aaron and I were talking about upcoming releases. We said we would talk about with Clemente, and here we are. 25-26 Upper Deck MVP has hit the shelves already. And that to me is kind of the first. That is when hockey season officially begins, when you see a box of that out on the shelves at Walmart or Target.
yeah, so baseball fans buy Topps flagship. Series 1 was at February, usually February
Yep.
15th, Valentine's Day. This is the same thing. This is MVP. It is a low level product in that it's affordable. I think boxes are about $60, which is great. And these are great cards to get, TTM'd or signed. But this is the first release of the year. Usually comes out a little later in August, so this is a little early in the month, which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
And we're talking about 250 cards. The last 50 are SP short prints. And you have top rookies in there too. Now, we should point out you're not going to have any of the rookies that were in the draft, a few months ago because they haven't played an official game yet. So guys like Matthew Schaefer, Michael Misa, you're not going to see these guys until maybe Series 2 in the flagship set, which is going to be February or March, right? So you have to wait for those. But you're going to have players who played the end of last season. You're going to have players that were traded and switched teams. We talked about that. So many players moved around. So you're going to see players in their new jerseys, which is fun. And the thing I enjoy the most is its quirkiness. Lots of, redemptions where you can get the top draft picks. In addition to that, lots of parallels, lots of fun designs. And this year, for the first time, they're adding mascot stickers.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
So they have mascot cards, which, they do the mascot battle or whatever it is. But the mascot stickers are fun. Now, whether or not people will actually take them, take them off the stickers and put them on their trapper keepers. So, if people still make those, I don't know. But isn't going to happen. But I'm sure collectors will collect these. Stickers is like we mentioned stickers in soccer. Like, the North American fan is like a sticker averse, but kudos to MVP for doing that because it's different. And also because maybe younger people, kids might like it. And us older guys might like it because it's kind of throwbacky. And we shouldn't forget that, even Jordan's rookie year, there was Fleer stickers in that set. So it's not
That's
like
true.
stickers are like a new thing, but the design's really fun. It's not much different from past MVP designs. I will say that. So you might look at this year's MVP and say, is this year or last year? You won't notice the difference. But in some of the parallels, the mascot cards, some of the other stuff, it looks very different. And look, it's really cheap, like, $60 a box. You can buy the fat packs now at retail, at Target and Walmart, which is always great to see hockey on the shelves. You don't always see that. Fun product. Series one probably will come out in October or November. So in the meantime, enjoy opening lots of this because it's cheap, it's easy, and it's fun.
I'll definitely be checking out some of that once I see a few boxes out there. But any cool pickups you've had here recently? Anything you bought at the National that you want to talk about or show off or anything? Or
Yeah,
Fanatics Fest?
yeah, no, yeah. So for Next Fest, oddly enough, I did not buy anything. The only thing I did do was I did get a Topps Champions League card signed by Roberto Carlos, the
Ah,
famous Brazilian defender who was actually there. Which is cool about Fanatics Fest is they'll bring in guys like that, like soccer legends from like another era. The one regret I have from Fanatics Fest is that I was too busy stalking or staking out other celebrities like LeBron James, and I missed in the FIFA Pavilion. I missed seeing Roberto Baggio. Okay,
oh wow.
so I know. Then I did see him during the Club World Cup at Trump Tower, of all places. It's a long story. We'll talk about that offline sometime. um, so FIFA brought in a lot of young guns, like old guns, really, to try to promote the FIFA Club World Cup, including Kaká and Hristo Stoichkov. Yeah, any 94 World Cup fans will remember these names. And they were all sort of floating around Trump Tower and they were walking around Fifth Avenue. And there were lots of very eager English tourists, I will say, in Midtown Manhattan looking for autographs because they couldn't believe the fact that these World Cup All-Stars were walking around New York, where I will tell you 99% of the population had no idea who these people were, okay? But you had to be either an Italian or an Englishman or something to figure that out. But in terms of pickups, I did pick up the Macklin Celebrini Young Guns card at the
Nice.
National. Not a sexy pickup, not a vintage, but a card I really want. I think he's got a lot of potential. I think he's going to have a really great second year. The Sharks are in rebuild mode. I think he had a really good rookie year, and some people are saying he may even be better than Bedard. Of course, his rookie card, his Young Guns card, not as expensive as Bedard, and so I was able to pick that up. I was happy with that. The other two cards I picked up that were really fun were, and this is the great thing about the National. They have so much inventory, so many dealers. You're going to see a lot of different stuff. I picked up a Tretiak in the game patch card. Now, if
Oh,
anybody knows who
nice.
he is a legendary Russian goalie. In the game, did a lot of stuff with him and other international stars back, a few years back. And so I picked up one of those cards. Those are the kind of cards I only seen online and never seen, that kind of stuff in person. So that was really great. On top of that, I picked up, this was a totally flukish thing looking through a box, but I was able to pick up the 1985 7-Eleven NHL set, which
Oh wow.
features a very young rookie Mario Lemieux in it
Mhm.
in that set. So that was a fun pickup, and the cards look like they're kind of thicker stock. They look like credit cards, and they were part of this sort of giveaway 7-Eleven did back in the 80s in Canada. So something I've never seen before in person. The thing I picked up, two autographs I picked up at the National. I picked up a bunch of autographs, really, but the two hockey ones were Ben Eager and Kyle Calder, both of the Blackhawks.
Oh yeah.
Those were the only two hockey signers at the National, which is sort of sad. And I have to say that that's the one thing about the National for hockey collectors that is really disappointing is that the signers, hockey signers, are just not enough of them and not really
Yeah.
marquee. But because these were the only two and they're both Chicago players, so they got big long lines. People in Chicago were eager to get them, of course. Pardon the pun. But but yeah, I'm glad I got them. But I think in future nationals, Chicago 2 more years, Detroit 1 more year, you really need to have bigger names, Lundqvist, Yager, maybe some current names. I mean, it's
Mhm.
off season. Like it's not hard to get bigger names. I mean, even the upper deck booth didn't bring in anybody super big. So that was a little disappointing. I'm hoping that in the future the National can do more, can do better in terms of bringing hockey signers.
It used to be that Chicago was kind of the big one for hockey signers because I mean Cleveland has zero hockey presence at all. I mean, they've got what, the AHL there, and that's it. Atlantic
Right.
City, I mean, they brought in like Bernie Perron and a couple flyers here and there, but
Sure.
Chicago used to be kind of the big one. 'Cause, I mean, at least they had, Murray Bannerman who would be out there or something like that. But I guess that's kind of, some good hopes for Detroit then. I mean, if you can't call yourself Hockey Town and not have multiple hockey signers there for the National, I would think. I mean, that's got to be
Yeah,
on the list.
I'm putting it out there now. They got 3 years to figure this out, but I want Stevie Yzerman,
Yep.
Sergei Fedorov. I want these guys there. I mean, Detroit in the 90s was huge, right? I want to see some of that, and hopefully that can happen. And, you're right. I mean, Bobby Hull, rest in peace. He was at every show, but you need other players to really step up, and whether they're from the 80s and 90s or current. I think other sports can do current players. Hockey should be able to do the same. So hopefully that happens more at Fanatics Fest and also at the National. And Detroit may be the place that changes it a little bit.
Yeah. Any other thoughts here before we move on in the show here?
No, I'm excited that I love the summer, but I know that these are the last days of summer, and so we need to move on to the fall. And as I get older, I grow a larger appreciation for the fall. Maybe it's because it's, especially where I am in the Northeast, it gets a little cooler, it gets a little brisker. It's been a very hot summer, and I'm sure it's been very hot where you are. And just when hockey starts in October, I can really tell. It's like, okay, now we're in this different place, and summer's over. And so I'm excited about hockey season. And I'm hoping that my New York Rangers can at least make the playoffs this year.
We'll see how it goes. I've got hopes for the Penguins too, but not big hopes. That's for sure. That's
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, there you go. That is Clemente Lisi. Thanks again for joining us here in Clemente's World.
Well, big thanks once again to Clemente Lisi for joining us here. We'll have him back again probably in potentially December, January, somewhere around there, though, once hockey season really gets rolling. I want to remind you, we've got for October, Les Wolf is going to be joining us on the show once again, and we are looking for your items for him to take a look at and appraise, give his thoughts on what the value might be if you're looking to get them insured, if you're looking to sell them, for anything like that. He can give you an approximate idea of what you're looking at there. So make sure you mail those in to us. Get us any photos, any descriptions, any accounts of how you went about getting them. And we'll have those on for our October show. Aaron, where do people email all of those items to if they want Les to take a look at them?
That would be ttmcast@yahoo.com.
So make sure you send those in. I've got a couple items of my own I'm going to have him take a look at for this month. Right now, let's go ahead and move on into Making the Grade.
And now it's time for Making the Grade.
Making the Grade is where we talk about all things related to grading here in the hobby. And with today being a holiday and the first of the month, we don't have the monthly numbers from Gem Rate, but we've got some other cool numbers that just came out recently. So, Aaron, why don't you take it away with those, and let's see what we got there.
Yes, cool numbers indeed, and also massive numbers. So for the first half of 2025, PSA has graded 8.89 million that's million cards, which is up 18%. CGC has graded 2.18 million cards, which is up a phenomenal 102%. SGC graded 962,000 cards, which is up 3%. And Beckett graded 366,000 cards, which is no change. Like that would be crazy. That's almost impossible to have no change. And so all in all, there were 12.4 million cards that were graded for the first half of 2025. That is up altogether 25%. So yeah, grading continues to be just a phenomenal uptick. As we continue here. So crazy.
12.4 million cards might as well be 39 quadrillion, because I can't imagine either of those numbers, of cards. So wow.
Right. We need a visual representation of
yes, exactly.
how many cards that is.
Yeah. Well, a big thanks to Gem Rate for putting those numbers out there and for giving us some numbers that you're not going to find anywhere else. It is this month's Big Three.
Big Three is brought to you by gemrate.com. Whose cards are hot and whose cards are cold this week? Let's find out from our friends at gemrate.com.
The Big Three is found only here on TTM Cast and takes a look at individual players and their grading trends, even sometimes down to the individual card. And so we'll take a look at the three players that have been seeing their grading numbers going up the most and the three that have been seeing it go down the most here in the month of August. Topping the chart of the risers, Cam Ward is our number one guy here this month. He's up 136%, the number one overall pick in this past year's NFL draft, or this current year's, I guess, would be NFL draft. Paige Becker is falling in the number 2 spot. She's up 118%, the number one pick of the WNBA draft, of course. And third, Cal Raleigh, the winner of the home run derby. He's, just straight up killing the ball this year. He's already set a record for home runs in a season by a catcher. He is up 113%. Paige Beckers has had her Panini Instant WNBA Draft Night card number DN1 see more than 3,500 copies graded in August. And the crazy thing is, this is a print run of over 67,000 copies on this card. So if my math is right, which it probably isn't, that is more than 5% of all of the entire run being graded. And that's by far the most graded card of this past month. Meanwhile, we've got a few players moving down, some surprising, some not so surprising. Aaron, what do we got here?
So we've got Dodgers star Mookie Betts, who is down 31% this month. And then we've got Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert, who is down 36%. And then the immortal Jerry Rice, rounding out the list, down 41% this month.
I could see Betts coming. The Dodgers, they've underwhelmed when, you have this, $1 billion payroll, basically, or $1 billion worth of contracts you've handed out here. For them not to be just straight up running away with it is very, very surprising. So I'm not too surprised to see Betts on that list there, I guess.
Yeah, when you spend like that in the offseason, and, it seems like every player who gets announced as being signed is signing with your team. It's like, at least one out of every two. It's like, are there 29 other teams that are going to play baseball this year? Or are the Dodgers just going to have 700 people on their active roster? It becomes hard not to underwhelm. It's like expectations are just through the roof because they've got their pick of everybody. Yeah, so just interesting food for thought there.
There you go. So once again, a big thanks to GemRate for providing all of that. You can follow them on all social media at GemRate for their daily, weekly, monthly, yearly numbers. But don't forget, the big three is found only here on TTM Cast. Right now, let's move on into the TTM Cast stamp of approval.
I bet you're wondering who earned this week's TTM Cast stamp of approval.
Well, TTM Cast stamp of approval gives us a chance to show that we're not just a bunch of card collecting and memorabilia and general sports geeks, even though, we are. A lot of our stuff in here still ends up tied into those things. But once in a while, we go off the track there, and we want to give our thumbs up to something, anything from the previous month. And so mine, I think I do this every time that I go to a game in Akron, but the food in Akron, Ohio at Canal Park ends up as my stamp of approval here for this week once again. I got out there, of course, for a week, went to a game, and they've got their great extreme food menu. And I know, Aaron, you've said the Nice to Meet You burger is like the best burger you've ever eaten, and I think it's the only thing you've had in Akron, whereas I've been varying it up every single time. This time I went for a chicken and waffle sandwich. And so it has, it had 3 waffles on it. It said it was supposed to have pimento cheese on, but there was no pimento cheese. There was kind of a garlic butter or something like that, which is like, all right, whatever. That works out all right. I think it was 6 chicken tenders, like 4 or 6 onion rings, plus bacon. And it was just as good as one would expect. Had a maple syrup glaze over it, of course. And it was exactly as I expected it would be. So big thumbs up on that one. And I also just happened to see that they had something called Akron in a Bowl. So I tried that out as well. And what that was, they put 3 distinctively Akron foods together in just kind of a bowl all together. So you get the full sampler there. So it was sauerkraut balls, which I'd never had before. I'd never even heard of them before, but apparently it is huge in Akron, which just shows how much I really got off the beaten path in Akron ever in my life, which is not very often. It's mostly just been to the games and to the college, and that's about it there. But yeah, they're these balls of sauerkraut and pork. They're breaded and fried and stuck on a skewer, and they're quite good. They also had JoJo fries with them as well, which the rest of the country just calls them potato wedges. And these ones were not good. They're just kind of plain potato wedges. JoJo fries, as I'm used to them up around Cleveland, they have usually kind of like almost like the seasoning that you get on curly fries, like that kind of, seasoned salt kind of a topping there. Usually find that on JoJo fries. These were just plain, kind of underwhelmed there. and also had white French dressing, which apparently is only an Akron thing. I'd never heard of it before until apparently Akron had an alternate identity of like the white Frenches or something there, where they had a white French dressing on a salad or something like that as one of their identities. So it was pretty good on top of all those things there. But overall, the food in Akron is my stamp of approval for this week, because as of yet, I mean, I've been to 3 games in the last 8 years there now, or 7 years, I guess would be, and they have never failed me. So there you go. That's my stamp of approval. Aaron, what do you got for yours?
So for the record, the second time I did not want to get, so in 2022 I did not want to get the Nice to Meet You burger. I wanted to get was it the 3-Dog Night, but they had what it's like a minor league ballparks, they bring in people to work the concession stand for it's like, oh, for band fundraiser or whatever. And I went up there and they were like, oh yeah, we don't even know what that is. And so I was like, well, I guess I gotta eat a 2.5-pound burger again.
I was originally going to get the 3-Dog Night, and I was warned by our friend Ruben there. He said, it's good, it's not the best. They said, he named off a couple other things that were better. I'm like, okay, I still might get it, but I'm going to take a look around a bit. And then, yeah, it's like, all right, chicken and waffles, you can't really go wrong with that. And yeah, it impressed for sure.
Absolutely. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, Akron has the best food in the minor leagues, at least. I mean, as far as like depth of menu of specialty food, and so, yeah, maybe one of these days I'll get to try something else there. But this has nothing to do with my stamp of approval. You got me thinking about ballpark food. In Atlanta, I had a monstrosity known as the home run stack. And the largeness of this cannot be overstated. And I definitely bit off more than I could chew. It is a double-decker sandwich, right? And each sandwich, or each part of the sandwich has a hamburger bun, or a hamburger patty, with brisket, and then brisket, and then it's got candied bacon. When I think about candied bacon, I think of crisp bacon that is, kind of pulverized and put on top as like a garnish or something like that. This was thick, the thickest cut bacon I've ever seen in my life. It was at least half an inch, and there were 2 pieces at each level of the sandwich. So there's like 8 total pieces of gigantic candied bacon. On top of this, there were 4 onion rings and a pile of fries. And so this whole thing was like, I don't know, 3 or 4 pounds, maybe more than that. And I did not finish it. It was very good. Wow. They had 2 different types of barbecue sauce. The like golden barbecue sauce, which I assume is some sort of mustard base, but they also had Coca-Cola barbecue sauce, which I'd never tried. That was pretty good. But yeah, so as far as ballpark food, that was the huge one. And when I got back, I saw a meme that somebody had made, and it said, try not to overdo it at the ballpark. Me, and it had a picture of the exact sandwich I ate in Atlanta. And I was like, well, I guess that's me. That's me. I get all the crazy food. Even the ones that make it onto a meme. So that was an interesting experience. But the people, it takes them so long to make this that you've got to be in it. They put you in a separate line that does not exist. Jeez. while you wait on this, and they give you free Coke and food while they make it. It took them like 30 minutes to make this, and but the people that, as you walk back to your seat with this, people look at you like you are a hero returning from war. Like. It is, they're like, whoa, that is the greatest thing I've ever seen. So anyway, yeah,
I had 4 people ask me about the chicken and waffles sandwich there too. They're like, oh my God, what is that? And where did you get it? I'm like, oh, right over there. And I hope it drove them some sales there. So yeah,
absolutely. Anything we can do to drive some sales to baseball, minor league baseball is good. So my actual stamp of approval. Sorry, I got off on the tangent on food. That's very easy to get me to do. But yeah, so my stamp of approval this month is definitely the Texas weather, because I mean, it only peaked out at like 102. We have a local contest in Wichita Falls where it's like the weather station tries to get you to guess when is going to be 103. I don't even know that happened this year.
Yeah.
And that's crazy because in 2022 it was 115 here before we left, and so now it's like nice in 70s. And Wichita Falls is even by Texas standards is a uniquely hot place. Like there were times a couple years ago where we were the hottest place on earth. It was like October and still in the hundreds, and so to have it be cooler and not not so violently hot here has been nice. Who knew that the hottest game that I would go to all year would be in Hickory, North Carolina? It was 102, but I don't know that it ever even made over 100 at any game I was at in Texas this year. So thumbs up. They are now the inverse of that is now they are predicting snow in Texas by November, and that would be a very unique occurrence. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think it said like 02, 03, 04. We had like at least 40 days of 100 degrees here in DFW. 2020 and 2021, they had only like 8 days or so of each. I think it was like 8 and 9 those years or something. And this year, it's maybe 3, maybe 4. It hasn't been much. I'm 5. My wife just said, nope, it's 5. But still, that is much less than either 8 or 9 of a couple of years ago, which was incredibly less than, the 40 and 50 we've seen a couple of the years there. So, yeah, definitely good to see. So, very, very much more bearable. So there you go. That's our TTM Cast stamp approval feeder for this month as we move on now to the Vern Rapp Minutes. The Vern Rapp Minute covers deaths in the world of sports, celebrity, music, movies, politics, any good TTMers that have passed away. We try to let you know about any, show mainstays, anybody you see at Out of Card Show. We'll let you know if they've passed away, anybody like that. Just make sure you try to help you out and make sure you don't accidentally send to somebody who's already passed away, because that's how the segment got its name. Our show's founder, Jeff Baker, sent to Vern Rapp, former Major League manager, minor league ball player, and didn't know that he'd already died. And so we provide this as a service to help you collectors out so that you don't make the same mistakes that we have. We're going to start here this week with Mark Hill, who we lost earlier this month. He was a catcher from 1973 to 86, played for the Cardinals, the Giants, the Mariners, and the White Sox. Mostly a backup throughout those 14 years, 737 games played, 223 hitter with 34 home runs and 198 RBIs. He was an excellent TTMer through this month. He was 73 years old.
We also lost former pitcher Rich Hinton at the age of 78. Like I said, he was a pitcher from 1971 to 1979 with the Chicago White Sox, the Yankees, the Texas Rangers, Cincinnati Reds, and the Seattle Mariners. He was mostly a reliever. He had a 9-17 record with a 4.87 ERA and 116 appearances throughout his career, and he was an excellent TTMer through 2023.
You see him at Rangers alumni appearances occasionally throughout the 2010s. We also lost Randy Moffett this past month. Randy was another pitcher, played for the Giants, the Astros, and the Blue Jays. Mostly a reliever, made 534 appearances throughout his career with a 43 and 52 record, a 3.65 ERA along with that. Randy was an occasional TTMer through about 2018 or so. He was 76 years old.
And we also have Daryl Patterson, who passed away at the age of 81. He was a pitcher from 1968 to 1974 with the Detroit Tigers, the Oakland A's, the St. Louis Cardinals, and the Pittsburgh Pirates. And he had 3 scoreless innings in the 1968 World Series, and he was a good TTMer through 2021.
Yet another pitcher. We lost Bill Daly this past month. He was hurler from 1961 to 64 for the Indians and the Twins. 119 appearances in that time, a 10-7 record, 2.76 ERA, so solid numbers right there for a short career. He was a very good TTMer all the way through this past October. Bill Daly was 89 years old.
And we also lost Bill Hepler at the age of 79. He was a pitcher for the 1966 New York Mets. That year, he made 37 appearances with a 3-3 record and a 3.52 ERA. And he was an excellent TTMer through July.
Last one for baseball here. It's Felix Torres, whom we lost this past month. He was a third baseman from 1962 to 64 for the Los Angeles Angels before they became the California Angels. Nice bat for him. He had a double-digit home run totals in both 1962 and 64 as a member of the Angels. A good TTMer through about 2020 or so. Felix Torres was 93 years old.
And we also have Leroy Jordan, who passed away at the age of 84. He was a linebacker from 1963 to 1976 with the Dallas Cowboys. He made 5 Pro Bowl appearances and won 1 Super Bowl during his career, and he was an excellent TTMer through July.
Keeping it in football, we lost Billy Houghton earlier this month. Billy was a wide receiver from 1952 to 63, played for the Packers, the Browns, and the Cowboys in that time. He had 2 1,000-yard receiving seasons and played in 4 Pro Bowlers, but despite playing on 3 legendary organizations there, never won a championship with any of them. But he was, at the time of his retirement, the all-time receiving yards leader for the NFL. He now sits in 96th place, so that just shows how far passing has come in the NFL to be the number one all-time, and then to be passed by that many after that. Billy was an excellent TTMer through 2023. He was 95 years old.
And we also lost Lionel Taylor at the age of 89. He was a wide receiver from 1959 to 1968 with the Chicago Bears, the Denver Broncos, and the Houston Oilers. He had 1,000 yards receiving 4 times in his career and made 3 Pro Bowl appearances. He was an excellent TTMer through July.
Moving on into hockey, we lost Mark Curtin this month. Mark was a center from 1979 to 85 for the Toronto Maple Leafs, the Detroit Red Wings, and the Vancouver Canucks. His best seasons came when he was in Detroit. He put up 75 points in 134 games as a Red Wing. He was an occasional TTMer through 2021. Mark Curtin was 67 years old. Numerically dyslexic for a moment.
We also lost Larry Jones at the age of 82. He was a guard from 1964 to 1974 with Philadelphia, and also 4 ABA teams. He made 4 All-Star appearances in the ABA, and he was an excellent TTMer through May.
The last one for this month, we lost Ron Turcotte. You may recognize that name as he was a jockey and rode Secretariat to the 1973 Triple Crown. The year before that, he rode Riva Ridge to 2/3 of the Triple Crown in 1972 and was the first ever jockey to win 5 of 6 consecutive Triple Crown races. Forced an early retirement after an injury at the age in 1978. He was an excellent TTMer, though, through June of this year. Ron Turcotte was 84 years old. Well, if you've lost anyone this week, our thoughts are certainly with you as we move to the TTM return.
Was our mailbox full this week? Let's take a look at this week's TTM returns.
Well, the main reason why we all are here and the reason why this show exists, it is our TTM returns. And looks like we both have a pretty good list here of stuff that we have gotten back here. I'll try to blast through mine here because, I mean, we're already something like an hour and a half into this show. Or we might have a 2-hour show by the time this thing ends. So we'll try to get through these quickly, though, at least, as I'm sure some of you have already seen these on Instagram or on Sports Collectors Daily, but we're still going to give them to you for all of you who haven't checked those places out. I got Reggie Smith back first off in 2 months. 2 set hits there for him. I sent through, I believe it was JD Legends is the name of the promoter that handles all of his mail. But yeah, it took only 2 months. Got my 2 set cards signed. I think $20 each, if I remember correctly. In the basketball world, I got Ron Rothstein, former coach of the Heat and the Pistons and a longtime assistant coach for several teams. Took 2 weeks to sign. He gave full signature on one card and then just a quick RR on the other two. So be forewarned if you're sending multiple items to him, you might get the short sig on most of them there. Got Rod Higgins back. Higgins played for several NBA teams, including the Warriors, and a brief bit with the Cavs at the end of his career. Took about 2 weeks to sign for me. In football, sent to Bobby A. Bear, former quarterback of the Saints, the Falcons, and I believe it's the Michigan Panthers of the USFL. I think he won a championship with them. He took 2 weeks to sign for me, personalizes everything, but he's a very quick responder on anything you mail off to him. Sal Butera, former catcher for the Twins, the Reds, the Expos. He might have been with the Yankees briefly, maybe a couple other teams there. He took 2 weeks to sign cards for me. A couple private signings I mailed off to that came back in this time as well. Julio Franco for my 1988 Donruss Diamond Kings set. Got him back in, I think it was about a 2-month turnaround from when I sent it out to when I got it back through the private signing. Got Ernie Witt, catcher for the Blue Jays, the Orioles, and the Braves. 2 weeks TTM on him. A couple other private signings here. I sent to guy handling mail for Mark Bortz and Doc Gooden when they did their signings at the National this year. Only cost, I think, $15 each on those. And I had 3 set needs I still need on Gooden and 1 on Bortz. Bortz being the former guard, I believe, if I remember right, for the Chicago Bears. Gooden, of course, baseball, so mixing sports there a bit. But same guy handling both, which made it very easy. But I got those back, about 2-month turnaround on those. Only about a week or so after the signing got done, they got back to me, so very quick response. Sent to former Indians, Yankees, and Cardinals pitcher Jake Westbrook. He signed 3 cards for me. Those took only 5 years to come back to me. Jay Aldrich, former Brewers pitcher, 3-week response time from him. Basketball's Randy Whitman plays for the Minnesota Timberwolves, I believe broadcasts for them now, and a former Cleveland Cavaliers coach. 1-month turnaround on his. Jeff Lodgman, former defensive lineman and linebacker for the Jaguars and the Jets. 1-month turnaround on him. Just a heads up for anybody planning on sending to Whitman or Lodgman, it looks like they are only signing 2 items per request. So anything more that you send than that is going to probably get kept. Red Sox reliever Joe Sambito, former Astros reliever as well. Sent to him, got him back in 1 week through his address out in, I think, California, if I remember right. Paul Mirabella signed for me in a week as well, former Brewers pitcher throughout the 80s and into the early 90s, and one of the players that went into the senior leagues for a bit and then came back to pitch more in the majors after that. So kind of a cool little piece of trivia there about him. Mickey Mahler signed 2 cards for me in 2 weeks. He now lives out in Utah, if I remember right, former Expo and Ranger. Got back Gary Allenson, former Red Sox catcher, took a month to respond to me there. Kevin Gamble, former member of the Celtics and the Heat, maybe a couple other NBA teams, but those 2 I do at least know off the top of my head for him, maybe some other ones there. He took a month to respond to me. Got Dave Corzine, former center for several NBA teams, including, I think he was with the Bulls, the Magic, the Sonics. He took 1 month to respond to me as well. And then in 2 weeks, we got back Bernie Carbo, former Cardinal, Indian, and Red Sox and Reds outfielder. 2-week response on him. And Linda Ruth Tosetti, the daughter of Babe Ruth. I figured, you know what? There's a 1972 top set card of the Babe Ruth Award. Who's I going to get to sign that? Let's send it off to Babe Ruth's granddaughter. 2 weeks to get that one back to me there. So that is a long list. That was what, 21 returns there in the month of August. So I still need to send out more. I got to buy some more stamps, but I'm starting to sort through cards and figure out who I'm going to mail off to. And just comes down to whittling down from, okay, these guys all signed to now, okay, now who am I going to write to first out of these, which, yeah, hopefully I'll be able to get to that sometime this month here. So, Aaron, how's your inbox been looking here over the last bit?
It's funny you mentioned Mickey Mahler. I got him back, I don't know, a year ago or so, and that was one of the greatest returns that I've ever got because he signed my cards, but then he also included like an 8x10. I don't know if you got one or not, but
I didn't. Wow.
But I don't know if it's because I mentioned being a Ranger fan, but it was a Ranger photo, and he wrote on there, "To Aaron, thanks for the pitching lessons. They really helped."
That's great.
And so every time I see his name, I'm like, that was an awesome return. Maybe one of these days I'll post that photo. But yeah, good stuff from that. So I actually had quite a few, and especially for me, I had quite a few. So I got back former Minnesota Viking Bobby Bryant, 3 of 3. Also, former Bucks, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I believe Chicago Bears quarterback Gary Huff signed three of three for me. Getting into baseball, former Royals catcher Mike McFarland signed 3 of 3 for me. I was pretty pumped about that. I've always had a deep appreciation for catchers in the torment they go through behind the plate. So it's always good to get back people that you watched play as a kid.
Do you know about the book, The Historical Baseball Abstract by Bill James?
No.
It's an incredible book because he kind of delineates in there, like how he came up with WAR and win shares and all these other stats in there. But he really breaks it down, goes by decade, stuff about baseball, like the innovations and stuff that's died out, players who were born, players who died, all this kind of stuff. But further on in the book, he ranks every position, the 100 greatest players at every position.
Mm-hmm.
And Mike McFarland was what caused him to write that book, because he sat down, he was watching a Royals game with a friend, and he asked a friend, would you consider Mike McFarland to be one of the 100 greatest catchers of all time? And his friend was initially like, no, there's no way. I mean, and he's like, but at the same time, how many catchers have lasted as long and had as decent of numbers as he did for as long as that? And it's like, I don't know. He might actually get in there. And yeah, when he cranked out all the numbers and everything, he came down to like the 76th best catcher of all time. So, yeah.
That is crazy. You learn something new every day. Very good,
Exactly.
very good. Yeah, Mike McFarland, obviously undervalued,
Vastly.
and also signed 3 cards for me, which I appreciate. I got former Denver Bronco Dan Williams signed a 4 of 4 for me. So it's always good to get back some old style Broncos with the D helmet.
Yes.
That's always good. So 4-4 on that. Former Minnesota Vikings Stu Voigt signed 3 of 3 for me as well. So I mixed in some football here, and former Giants defensive back Perry Williams signed 2 of 2. And then David Benoit. I might actually have the number here. Hang on. So David Benoit, I keep a list. I don't always read it, but I keep it. David Benoit, former Utah Jazz player, he signed for me in 185 days, so it wasn't super crazy, but definitely took a minute. But 4-4, and then one that I was very happy with, actually, Tariq Abdul-Wahad. I don't know if you're familiar, but former Denver Nugget and also Sacramento King star signed a couple of awesome cards for me. One of which being a Flair Metal Universe, and I always enjoy that.
Yes.
But yeah, so that was one I sent to a few basketball players that played in the late 90s, early 2000s, which was really my sweet spot in basketball. So getting Tariq Abdul-Wahad was pretty awesome. Also, former Colorado Rocky Eddie Butler signed 4 of 4 for me. Unfortunately, the United States Postal Service decided to wreck that envelope, and so they're still signed, but there's a pretty sizable crease about a third of the way down the card. But you take what you can get, I guess. I also got former Marlin and Tigers. I believe he played third base. Anyway, Kevin Hooper signed 3 of 3 for me. And then going back to catchers and Royals catchers, nonetheless. Brian Johnson, former San Francisco Giant and Kansas City Royal, signed 4 of 4 for me. So I mentioned my love of catchers, and so that was very nice. And then a lot of Royals on this list, I'm noticing as I'm going down it. Mike McDougal, I believe that was my second attempt, and I never heard back from the first one, but he signed 3 of 3 for me, so that was cool. I remember watching him pitch. He had a very distinctive look, almost Amish about him. But and then Lamond Murray of your Cleveland Cavaliers, also of the Los Angeles Clippers and the Toronto Raptors and all that. I remember playing as Lamond Murray and also Tariq Abdul-Wahad, I believe, on NBA Courtside 2002, which has to be like top 5 basketball video games of all time. and they had this arcade mode where you could do, I mean, this may be sacrilege, but almost better than NBA Jam. NBA Jam, gets all the hype and stuff, but NBA Courtside was legit. You played 3-on-3 arcade style basketball on top of a skyscraper, and you could throw alley-oops that they jump off the frame and come down. I mean, it was completely legit.
Nice.
And the commentary on it was awesome as well. And then lastly, I got former Cincinnati Bengal Carl Zander, who signed in personalized 3 cards for me, and that is the end of the list. So yeah, I think
Nice.
I think we did okay this month.
I think so. And Murray is actually on my list to mail out to here pretty soon, because I found a few cards of him while I was going through the basketball stuff there. But yeah, a friend of mine's dad, I think, actually did his broken cheekbone surgery or something like that when he was with the Cavs there. So yeah.
Oh,
He
one
did
thing
something
I
in his
did,
face there that he had surgery on. Yeah, he did it there. But yeah.
one thing I did forget to mention. I saw on Facebook that Todd Stottlemyre was I don't know if you saw this or not, but he wrote a book or whatever, and he's promoting it. And I guess a part of that promotion, he is offering 2 signed cards, and now it's just whatever cards you get. I guess he's got a bunch of cards and has signed them, and you can get 2 signed cards for $8.
Yep.
And so I did that, former Ranger, obviously. And so I thought $8 is not bad. I mean, I don't think he TTMs, or at least I've never seen him TTMing. And so I thought $8 was a pretty good deal. And it took, I don't know, a week, maybe a week and a half. And I had 2 Todd Stottlemyre cards signed in my mailbox. And so
Nice.
that was pretty cool, but super affordable. And also a guy who is not normally available TTM. So maybe somebody will find that helpful.
Yeah. Always good to see that. Yeah, I saw a couple posts on that on Facebook there, but haven't gone for it myself there, but I might have to jump on that now. Just now that people that I know are getting it back, it's like, all right, that's a good sign right there. So
it's legit. Cool. I can vouch.
Yes. Definitely is. That is definitely good. Well, we're almost at the end of the show. We mentioned earlier on the 2026 road trip is getting planned, and I would say I think our schedule is almost completely set on it. We're waiting on a couple things to come out, but do we want to go ahead and announce it now, exactly what we're going to be doing for next year?
It sounds good to me, or if you want to wait.
All right.
Give a teaser.
We'll go ahead and do this. We'll go ahead and do this. We'll go ahead and announce it now. We'll put it out there to everybody since they've waited this patiently this long. This has been a very long show. Like I said, I think we're going to hit 2 hours on this thing, which is completely insane. I cut things down hoping to keep it to an hour every time, and now it's like, nope, that's not happening now that we're monthly. But oh well. Hey, if you need to take a break, and come back and listen to the rest later. But we are officially hitting the road for next year's the 2026 edition of our quadrennial road trips. This time is going to take us up to the kind of to the South and the Midwest both, because we tend to center it around the National Sports Collectors Convention. And this year's show, the 2026 show, is of course part of it's the middle year of a 3-year run in Chicago. So we'll be going through the Midwest there quite a bit, but drum roll, please. Let's go ahead and announce this edition of our trip. First off, we're going to be leaving on the 20th of July, 2026. No games that day. That is a Monday. We're just going to drive like hell that day and just get out on the road and get started, because the first game we're doing is going to be on July 21st. That is a Tuesday, and is all the way over in Gwinnett County, Georgia. Lawrenceville, Georgia, the Gwinnett Stripers playing at home against the Iowa Cubs. So as long as that is a 6 or 7 o'clock game, as long as it's something we can actually get to, we'll be going to that. I should say a lot of these, they're subject to change if they come with some really screwed up times on them. But for the most part, as long as they're all going to be evening games, this is going to be the schedule. So there you go. Iowa at Gwinnett. The next day, we're going to go just a little ways up the road, going up to Rome, Georgia. We're going to see, I believe that is going to be the Frederick Keys against the Rome, was the Rome Emperors now? They changed their names too much now. It used to be the Rome Braves, but yeah, the Rome Emperors.
Their mascot is a penguin named Julius.
Okay, that makes sense. I approve. That's good enough. Thursday, the 23rd of July, we're going to go on up into Kentucky. We'll see the Asheville Tourists play at the Bowling Green Hot Rods. On Friday, we're going to go up into Ohio. This time we'll be down to the southwestern corner of Ohio, but we'll be seeing the Dayton Dragons playing at home against the Cedar Rapids Colonels. Saturday, July 25th, we're going to go on into Indiana and catch South Bend. South Bend Cubs will play at home against the Wisconsin Timber Rattlers. And on Sunday, July 26th, we'll see the Quad Cities River Bandits play at the Beloit. What's Beloit's team name now? Is it still the Snappers?
Beloit is now the Sky Carp.
That's right, the Beloit Sky Carp now. So we'll be seeing them hosting Quad Cities on July the 26th. And unless you add a new ballpark before any of this starts, I think that's going to be number 100 for you. It's going to be in Beloit there, if my math and stuff is correct on this. So definitely a milestone we'll have to keep an eye out on there to see which of these ends up as 100. Monday, July 27th, it's going to be an off day. We're going to drive through Michigan's Upper Peninsula. By the way, I have found a good spot for both kudigi sandwiches and pasties. My dad had a recommendation on the pasties, so it's like, all right, we've got stuff for those. So you'll spend the 27th driving through Michigan. Morning of the 28th, we're going to take the SS Badger across Lake Michigan and get there in time back to Wisconsin to see the Wisconsin Timber Rattlers at home, taking on the Lansing Lugnuts. From there, on Wednesday, July 29th, we will drive down to Chicago. It's the first day of the National, so we will not be doing a game on the 29th. National starts at, I believe, 2 in the afternoon that day with all the VIP preview stuff. We'll be out there for all of that. Thursday, July 30th, full day 1 of the National, and in the evening, we'll catch the Yankees at the White Sox. So hopefully get to see Comiskey, or whatever they're calling that park now. New Comiskey, I still call it that. So It's Comiskey in my mind. There you go.
It was guaranteed rate, and now I believe it is just rate field.
They're not guaranteeing it anymore. Jeez, guys, get it together.
I mean, it's
the White Sox, I guess.
Field.
Yeah, exactly. Guaranteed field. That's what they're going to take the rate out of it instead. So it's like, yes, this is guaranteed to be a field. Great. Thanks, guys. Wow. The next day, we're going to see the Yankees at the Cubs, if all goes as we hope it will. So get to see Wrigley Field on Friday, July 31st, also spending the day at the National. Saturday, August 1st, spending that at the National as well. The evening, we will likely try to see what's available among the independent teams out there. As, of course, Kane County, Chicago, Windy City, Joliet, Schaumburg. Gary South Shore isn't too far away, but I prefer not to have to drive into Gary, Indiana at night. Just no. Lake Country and Milwaukee, not too far from there either. So we'll see what's available and hit a game there on Saturday among an independent league team. Sunday, we're probably going to have to skip the last day of the National. So anybody who can help us out with the signers on Sunday at the National, if we can give you our items, our tickets, our whatever you need there for that, and get those items done for us, and we'll pay you for doing so. We're going to go over to Quad Cities. We're going to see the Dayton Dragons play at Quad Cities. Get to see modern Woodman Field there. That'll be on Sunday, August 2nd. Monday, August 3rd, we're looking at a Major League game. We'll see the Pittsburgh Pirates play at the Milwaukee Brewers, just a short drive over there. So 3 Major League games potentially on this trip, if all goes as we hope it will. Tuesday, August 4th, we're going to go up, as we teased a little bit early on, St. Paul, Minnesota. We're going to go and see the St. Paul Saints play at home against the Louisville Bats on Tuesday, August 4th. And then we start getting into some speculatives here. So we don't yet have the schedule for the American Association yet. And so because of that, we'd like to hopefully go up, see the Fargo-Moorhead Redhawks play. And if Fargo-Moorhead is playing at home on Wednesday, August 5th, we will be up there for that. It's a good chance to be able to knock the Dakotas off of the states we visited list. So hopefully we'll see Fargo-Moorhead on August 5th. Contingency plan, though, if that falls through, is we have Quad Cities playing at Peoria on that day. So we'll go down and duck down to that one if we need to, but hopefully we'll be up in Fargo-Moorhead for that. August 6th, we're going to see either Sioux City or Sioux Falls at home, depending on who's at home, as long as Fargo-Moorhead was at home the day before. If not, then, well, we've got some openings once again. And so we're looking at possibly Memphis playing at home against Nashville. It's going to be 6.5-hour drives each of these days, if that's the case, which will make it kind of tough, but it's about all we've got. But as of right now, that's how the schedule's looking. We'll see if anything else happens to shake out in the meantime. Friday, August 7th, we'll definitely be going, no matter what, to see the Cubs play at the Royals. At least that's the plan right now. If no matter what, whether we're in Memphis or whether we're in Sioux City / Sioux Falls, it shouldn't be too hard of a drive to Kansas City there that day for that. And we'll finally finish it all up on Saturday, August 8th. We will have the Northwest Arkansas Naturals playing at home against the Wichita Wind Surge. We'll do that on August 8th and be back home on August 9th with hopefully a whole crap load of autographs to talk about and a whole bunch of ballparks visited and new states visited and a week at the National. I mean, there's everything that's going on with this thing here. So the planning is underway. The schedule is fairly well set, I would say. It's just that kind of that stretch at the end there we're not sure about, but there you go. That's the whole thing. Aaron, any thoughts that on there that I did not add in there?
No, I think you pretty well covered it. Yeah. So if number one, you know that we are fat kids at heart, and so if you have any food along the way that you think we should try, if you have any, I guess anything along the way that you think that would be fun for us to do, please drop us a line at ttmcast@yahoo.com. Let us know, because we try to fit in as many things as possible. Also, if you would like to come out and graph with us, that's always fun. I met a few people on my recent foray through the Carolinas, and it's always good. I don't think they knew that I did the show. I just met them graphing, but yeah, so always good. And you want to come out and say hi and get some autographs with us, maybe show us the ropes, because we are always at a disadvantage going to a new ballpark, and so we need all the help we can get. But we would welcome any suggestions or graphing help that you could provide.
We also will have our TTM Cast cards there as well to sign for anybody who wants a copy of them as well. I was able to pass a few of those out while I was up in Ohio too, so hopefully get a few listeners out of that, and we'll have them there if you want to meet up with us at the National or at any of those ballparks there along the way. Hopefully I have a way to get them TTM here pretty soon too. I just haven't set my PO box up yet, but once we do, we'll be sending those out as well. I think that about does it for this week's show. Got 2 hours or so in the books on this one. Aaron, any final thoughts here before we call into this one for this month?
I'm going to go eat a hot dog and then take a nap. Because it
sounds like a solid plan.
It is Labor Day. I think the Rangers play at some point. They're in Arizona today, so maybe they can win. We'll see. Always a tenuous prospect.
Yeah, Guardians, they just started an hour ago against the Red Sox. I haven't seen a score yet, though. But yeah, I might have to go and see if I can catch some of that here today as well. So once again, big thanks to Arron for jumping back into the co-host seat here this week, and a big thanks to Clemente Lisi for joining us in Clemente's world. Also want to thank Ruthie Baker handling all of our production work and sending this all from our mouths out to your ears here for our September episode. Next month, we'll be around Saturday, October 4th. We'll have Les Wolf coming to talk about everything. Be doing some appraisals with him, so if you want to get your items looked at and reviewed and get a basic idea of value on those, Aaron, where can they mail those to?
It's ttmcast@yahoo.com.
Send them to us. Send us your pictures, descriptions, all that kind of stuff to go with them, and let us know. We'll have Les take a look at it and give his idea on their value. That is for TTM Cast this month. Wishing you many happy returns, and we will see you next month.
Everyone, be good.